Hey guys, in this video we are going to do the caster assembly. This part is another assembly that we'll create, so we're going to do a full site plan for this one. Now this one's going to be different from the last part in that we are doing what we call a complete site plan set, which includes a cover page, and the cover page would have the assembly and presentation file, and then in addition to the cover page, which we've done last 2 weeks, we are also going to be doing individual drawing sheets with dimensions for each of the parts, basically what we did every other week up until the last two. So it'll be several sheets total, a cover page, and then one part per page, probably. If you can fit 2 or more parts, you can definitely do fewer, but you need to have each of these individual parts, once they're drawn, fully dimensioned on an 8.5 by 11, and then that'll be included with the larger 17 by 22 cover sheet. So we have how many parts? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 parts, and then a retaining ring, which the retaining ring will come out of the content center. So we're gonna have to do 5 different part files. Also, guys, this part right here is pretty similar to your final. You'll find that there's a lot of overlap between the similarities to the part, mostly a wheel. So this is a great practice to know how to do a full, complete site plan set. All right, let's get started. So I'm looking at, we'll do the post first, and I believe we are in metric because, you know, a diameter of 7.5 inches would be massive. Also, English rarely uses decimal inches. It would be like 7.5 if it was English. Does it say metric anywhere? No. Oh, right here. Kind of small, hard to see. But it does say it's metric. So let's get started. There's 2 ways you can draw this part. One way is by doing a bunch of cylinders with different diameters. And that'll totally work. The way I'm going to do it is I'm going to use the revolve command. Again, with the revolve command, you create half of a cross section going long ways, and then you revolve it about the long axis through the center of this. So let's do that. So I'm going to do the chamfer at the end. So I'm going to start by just drawing, it goes out, over, in, and then a little outward crevice over here. And when I typically do these, I just draw the geometry first, and then I go ahead and add dimensions later. You could add the dimensions as you go. So we'll go here, standard, start it on, doesn't really matter which axis, and we'll get going. And it was a little indent, have it be the same height, come out, up, okay. So I just drew the overall geometry, not the right dimensions, but the general shape. And you can imagine that when this piece is revolved around this line right here, it will somewhat resemble this shape. Now I'm going to go ahead and add some dimensions. So from the end to the top of the divot is 9, and then it's 25 from here to the little washer portion, and then that little divot is 4, and that's 3. Let's see if I can remember that all in one shot. Probably not. I don't have a good short-term memory. That one was 9. You were 4. You were 25. You were 3. And what was the overall? 43? Yeah, the overall was 43. So from here to here was 43. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create the center line. And the center line is the axis that you will revolve this about. So I'm going to go ahead to, not construction, center line, and just create a line from here to here, exactly 43. And it looks like it created a line for me right there. I don't remember creating that one. Okay, so now I have to go ahead and add the heights. So when you do the heights, you don't just do a regular linear dimension. You actually do a radial dimension, because Inventor understands that when you do the revolve command, you're going to be using circular shapes. So I'm going to hit dimension. And if I hit dimension right here, it'll be the linear distance. I don't want that. I'm going to hit escape. And I'm going to go from here to, look, the center line. And when you do that, it automatically will assume that you're doing a radial dimension. And the radial dimensions are 7.5 for the inside, 14 for the regular, 18 for the large. Okay, so this one was 14. From here to here was 7.5. And from here to here was 18. Okay. I guess that's good, right? I'm just double checking. Yeah, I think that's it. And you can tell that we are fully constrained on the bottom right, which just tells you that you are covering all your bases and all your dimensions. So you could do the chamfer here. Chamfer is under fillet. Or I can do the chamfer when I'm done. You could do it either way. I'll do finish sketch, and I'll hit revolve, and it'll probably preview it because there's only one thing to revolve it about. And I'm going to hit OK. And then I will go ahead and add the chamfer. And the chamfer was 1 at 45 degrees. So I can just do 1. And it'll assume that it'll be same on both sides, which gives you a 45-degree angle anyway. And that's it. Cool. So let's properly name this. I'll call this part 1 post, and then it should be SAE 1112, which is a type of steel. So I'm going to go over here, give it, I don't really care, just give it a steel. And I'm going to go to File, iProperties, or you can right click over here to go to iProperties. We'll go to Project. Yeah, Project. And we'll call the part number, call it part 1. Description, I think it was post, right? Was there any other like info that came with it? All right, I think that looks good. And I'm going to hit OK. And I'm going to do File, Save As, and like we did with the pressure chamber and the rocker assembly, I'm going to create its own folder called the caster assembly, where I'll put all these files into. And we'll call this, in all caps, post. All right. So that part's now done. And I have 7 minutes left of this video. Let's do the shaft. We'll do that one next. Okay, so similar to the post, you're going to be creating a half of the cross section to revolve it about the long axis, which is the 40 inches or millimeters. And it goes up, over, down. I'm just kind of following the geometry right now. Okay. So I'm going to do a new 2D sketch. All right. And it kind of sometimes helps to be a little bit, if you are not going to add the dimensions as you go, to have the part be larger than what it actually is, because it could get a little bit messy sometimes with, if you make, for example, if I made this line too long, it'll cross right here when this extends down further, and then it will mess it up. So sometimes just be a little over generous with how long you make it preliminarily before you go ahead and add dimensions. Okay, so we have, that's 2 from there to there, the washer end. It's 3 from here to the end, and then randomly 0.73, and then 40 overall. Let's see if I can remember that. Probably not. 2 from here to here was 3, right? See, this is what I mean. Like, that looks, it crossed, so I'm going to go ahead and do that one later. See if I could, well, actually, that one was longer. Anyway, sometimes it just kind of happens that way. You just gotta change up the order that you do things and hope that it is a quick fix. So I'm going to try the 0.73 dimension first and see if that solves it. 0.73, and then from here to here was 3. Yeah, see, now doing it in that order made it work. And then overall was 40. Okay. Now we just have to add the diameters, and it's 0.64 for the small, 7.5, 16. Oh, gotta add the construction line first. Or not construction, the center line first. Turn it off, and then, what did I say, 0.6 or 6.4, 7.5, and I forget, as usual, 16. I'll do the chamfer on this side, and the chamfer was 1.5 this time. Okay, I think that's everything. And I'm going to now revolve it. Okay, looks good. And we're almost done. We do have to add another little portion to it. If you look over here, there's a little bit of a rib right there, which is 2 inches high, or is that 2 inches wide? I can't quite tell. And then it's 45 degrees. So I'm going to have to add another sketch. So I'm going to start new 2D sketch, and I'm going to have to expand origin and do along that axis, or that plane. Hit F7, and I'm just going to draw like a triangular shape first, and then I'll add dimensions later. Okay, and then I'm going to say the dimension from here to here gives you a 45-degree angle. And I don't know which is 2, so I'm just going to say from here to here is 2. And then if I do that right, then from here to here would also be 2 automatically. I don't have a point to click on. So I'm going to finish sketch, and I'm going to extrude it. I hit revolve. Extrude in both directions. 2. And now I'm done. So now I'm going to change the material to the same steel. Maybe I'll change the color to make my presentation look cooler. Go to Eye Properties, right-click part, and go to Eye Properties. And this one was part 3, and it was named the shaft. So we'll go to part number, we'll call it part 3, and the description we'll call shaft. Hit OK. And then I'm going to go to File, Save As, and call this in all caps, shaft. Okay, that'll be a wrap for this first video. In the next one, we will draw this part, and then time permitting the wheel. But we'll take it from there. All right, that's it for this one.